Let's talk about the job market. I think we're in a recession right now, but we're not, but we are, but we're not. But it depends on the day of the week, what phase the moon's in. I don't know. I don't care. All I know is lots of companies have stopped hiring, everybody from Amazon to Facebook. We're seeing lots of companies doing layoffs as well. Twitter, obviously, as of recent, Airbnb, Stripe, Lyft, so many more. All great companies that have lots of talented engineers. And it's rare that people being laid off are being laid off because they weren't bringing value. It's because they weren't bringing enough value right now. And calculations and decisions were made that were within the amount of risk the company could take at the time, and they no longer are. It's a sad point that we're at, but we have to be realistic about it and how we as engineers navigating this new changing market behave and make decisions. I have a piece of advice I've given for a long time, which is always be interviewing. Every 6 months, I think there's a lot of value in doing an interview loop, keeping it as quick as you can, ideally, especially if you're happy with your current job and don't plan on moving. But generally speaking, having a good idea of the market, what companies are hiring, what your value is, and where you could possibly work is super valuable. I think it's a great way for you to better understand how you're positioned and also the state of the market, especially right now when things have swung in a not great way. The two trends I'm seeing right now are in startups. I see much less hiring going on in general. Obviously, startups shouldn't be hiring more than they need, but with the I hate to say easy money, but the state of the startup world for a while was that we could raise money without too much effort. And that allowed for us to do a lot of things we couldn't before and hire a lot of people we didn't necessarily need. We've even been affected by this at Ping, where we've made the team a bit smaller since the recession and since the market has turned. But because of that, a lot of the types of hires that startups would make, a lot of the earlier career people a startup could reasonably bet on if they knew what they were doing and had proven themselves on GitHub, a lot of those risks and a lot of those roles have dried up fast. On top of that, big companies are less likely to take risks as well. I know at Twitch, a lot of the teams I was on were operating like a startup, trying to prove out some new vertical. Like, what if marathon content and TV shows worked on Twitch? What if game shows or music or karaoke? We would build different products to solve for different potential use cases. And I would consider a lot of those things to be a lot like a startup within a company. Most of those opportunities are dead right now. As the hiring freezes have hit and companies are changing the layouts and architectures of their teams and even laying off as much as half of their employees, we're seeing those types of experiments drying up with it. And with that, a lot of opportunity for new hires going with it. I think the most affected people are going to be early career devs because let's be real, early career devs are a risk. It's usually going to be 6 months to a year before you're getting a lot of value out of those early career developers. And that's fine. Like fresh out of college, I took way more than 6 months to be useful, but I like to think after those 6 months, I was very useful. And the 4 years Twitch got after that were very useful for them as well. I think early career hires are a great exchange for a company to make if they're aware of the risk and have the opportunity to grow that engineer into one that can be productive for the company. But that's an expensive risk that I'm seeing less and less companies making right now. I'm still seeing a lot of companies hiring for senior engineers, senior technical managers, and anything with senior plus in the title. But all those junior and early career roles, a lot of those internships are vanishing. Not because those employees are too expensive, but because the time commitment and the risk associated with those types of hires is just not worth it in a market that's as uncertain as this one. So what do we do about it? It's a tough question. The best thing you can do as an engineer is make yourself indispensable. Because when you do get that first job, and you do have any job, you should bring in as much value as possible to the company. And not in the like, adopt technologies nobody else knows how to use sense, but in the you take ownership of things, you solve problems when they happen, you're on top of shit. And generally speaking, the association people have with you is things getting done and things getting fixed. And if that's how you're known, and that's the vibe you have given off, especially if you have a GitHub full of you solving problems and issues with other repos that you helped close or chat about, if I can look at you and I can look at your contributions and conclude you're a person who solves problems, that makes you much easier to hire, even in a market like this one. The more you can do to be indispensable on the things you work on, be it at your job right now, at an open source project on the side, or even just helping in your program at school, because connections and value are what are going to get you your next job right now. The connections you make on platforms like Twitter, like the Discord community, like hanging out in the YouTube comments here, those connections and those relationships you can build will get you to talk to the people who can sneak you into those roles when they randomly pop up. Generally speaking though, cold applications right now are gonna suck. And we have to be realistic about that as we recommend people who might not have ever even considered code get into it right now. The market's in a weird place, and getting a job in tech has not been this hard in a long time. So be realistic about it. Do your best to know where you are and how you can bring value to companies, either the ones you're at now or the ones you want to be in the future. And do your best to make as many connections as you can to as many people as you can by bringing value and friendship and other whatever else you can to them. It's your goal to be seen as valuable to as many people in the space as possible. And at that point, you won't have to worry as much about jobs anymore. I hope this was helpful. This shit sucks. And to anybody who's in the market for the first time right now, trying to get their first gigs, sincerely, my heart goes out to you. This is a tough grind. I wish you the best of luck. Keep working, keep doing cool shit. This will calm down. This will work out. I firmly believe we still don't have enough engineers in the space for all the things people are trying to do, but you can do this. I promise. Really appreciate the time as always. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's a really good opportunity to do that. There's a little button in the corner there for that. YouTube's probably recommending a video up here as well. Thank you as always. Let's chat more in the future. Peace, nerds. Kind of want to do a poll about how long people have been employed here. I'm actually really curious. It makes a lot of sense that my audience is senior with my topics, yes, but it makes a lot less sense that there are that many people who are looking for and watching senior video content. I didn't think that would be a thing because it didn't exist years before and people weren't watching it.